Let me demonstrate the power of analyzing MIB using a CSV rather than going through the actual MIB. So this is our MIB converted into the CSV. Now, when we are usually doing the MIB analysis, we are looking for the certain informations which we will use in the monitoring. One of such informations are what are the objects we can pull from the device. So we would be looking at the object type, which would be actually object type. So we filter and go for the object type, and those are the objects we can pull using SNMP get or any tool which is using SNMP get. Here is the descriptions, here is the name of such object, obviously the OID which we can use to pull that using SNMP get or possibly SNMP walk if it's a table, and the syntax is saying what it will be, if it will be an integer or any other information. Another information which we are looking for would be a traps or notification types, because those are the traps which device is capable to send. Now again, we have the information which variables we can expect in the objects, and we can use the names of those variables and use a Control F to search those in the MIB and figure out what exactly it means, what we can expect there as a variable, if it will be an integer, if it will be a string, what it means, etc. And another thing which we can usually use is the name of the object. Some vendors are having the approach that they are having the names of the traps which basically somehow correspond to the problem, and there is kind of clear naming convention by which you can figure out just by the name of the trap what's happening, and the description is just giving you more details. Or the another approach is there is just a few traps based on the, for example, severity. So we can have traps like event error, event warning, event critical, and all the other informations are there in the objects. And also there is like one trap which all the information which can suggest you the severity and what and where happens are in the variables. This one I've choose specifically because it's the first approach using the name to actually let you know what happens, right? You can use a description as well to see what's happening, but also this object name give you an idea what's going on, what is the problem, like for example here, low battery. Another thing which we will be looking for if we are doing a monitoring is to actually probably figure out how severe the problem is. If it's a critical and we shall act immediately, or if it's just a warning or error which we need to handle in certain time, or if it's just the information and we possibly doesn't need to act on that, etc. And the power here of using a CSV is pretty big, because what we can do is we can actually hide the information which we don't need. So let me hide those. And what we actually need is to see the description, to kind of figure out, what is the problem, because the description is a detailed description, at least in this case, what's the problem. And then we will use the name. So let me hide those informations as well. And what we can see is there is kind of some logic, some naming convention, which can give us the idea, right? So let's see what we have there. And at least what we can see here are that in the description they are using words like severe, informational, warning. So this probably suggests the criticality somehow. If I open that, I also see a critical, error, failure. So all those, and then there are informational, warning, and severe, right? So possibly around 5 criticalities, if I'm not mistaken, which we gonna need somehow reflect in our monitoring. So that's one hint. A second hint would be, the naming convention. So we can basically filter based on, let's say, the critical. Like we can use the filter and use begin with critical. So it will give us just the critical ones. So this gives us the critical, but as you can see, the name, it's a same name, but it's ending with a clear. And if we take a look in the description, it's an ESXC alarm has been cleared. So this one is open, this one is cleared. So we can even correlate and figure out the pair, which is saying, here is the problem is solved. So let's see if there is such naming convention, at least for this. There will be probably for another traps, same naming convention. So let's clear that off and let's take the information which we have. And if it's a naming convention, what will definitely help us is to sort those informations. So let me do the sorting. And we know it's having a header, and we will sort it based on the object name. So as we are sorting it based on the object name, we can see there is like abnormal condition cleared, condition information condition cleared, error condition cleared. So there is, clear and open pairs, which we can use for the correlation. And also using this severe and warning information, we can figure out also how severe that shall be, at least based on the vendor. We can have a different opinion, but at least it's some guide for us, initial guide for us. And we can see we have there connected, disconnected, another naming convention. Closed, open, another pair. Abnormal, normal, another pair. So we basically can start making a notes about this, giving our own severities to that, making like open, close pairs, and this will give us a clear picture what we can expect from the device, how we can correlate it, what is the severity, etc. So this, as you can see, is pretty much quicker and easier using the CSV and the ability of the Excel in the filtering and sorting to be able to quickly figure out the settings for the monitoring tools or whatever you are going to use.